Mr. Savarkar, thank you very much for speaking to Autocar Professional.
Our
I want
pleasure.
to broadly start this conversation by asking you about, your game plan with the Curvv. What sort of opportunity do you see this model bringing for Tata Motors in this particular category, where you're slotting this in between the Nexon on one side and the Harrier on the other?
Yes. So, you will notice that this is the first time that we are entering a mid-SUV segment. This segment in India, by the way, is about 16-17% of the TIV and growing. This is our first entry into this segment. Before this, we were kind of addressing about 55% of TIV. And bringing in a mid-SUV helps us improve the addressable market from our point of view. It is also the sweet spot for the growth of Indian auto industry. So you will see that people who buy into mid-SUVs are normally people who have experience of having owned earlier cars. So they are already very, very young and educated people in terms of how a car should be. So most of these people would want to have a set lot of refinement when they come into the mid-SUV. And they would have very, let's say, the pre-decided choice of which kind of powertrain they want to go for. With this, you will notice that we have also provided not just EV, but 3 more ICE powertrains. Each of the ICE powertrains also comes with the automatic. And this time we're going to provide EPG transmissions with all the 3 powertrains, in addition to manual. In that way, we are going to provide a very comprehensive solution. Most customers who want to look at Curvv will look at all these things before making a decision. But then we also had the intent that this is a very crowded marketplace already with 9 or 10 other players in the market. So when entering into this, let's say, segment, we wanted to give a very differentiated offering in the form of a coupe, which is also performance-oriented SUV. It has a very good stance, but it also has a coupe body style. And for the coupe body style, you'll notice that most OEMs, luxury OEMs around the world, who have SUVs, position their coupe SUVs a little above their normal SUVs, a little more premium than normal. So then we thought this was maybe the right time to bring in a body kit like this into India for Indian consumers to start looking at coupe kind of body style and the way it brings luxury and presence into the SUVs that we make.
Right. But Mr. Savarkar, do you believe that this sort of a body style is going to have a mass appeal within the mid-size SUV segment, or do you feel that this is still going to be a very niche play for you within this category?
Like, you would have also seen that in the past also, most of the product offerings that came from us have always broken form, and they come with very different looking products to meet consumer demands. And we see that while it may be new, so it does grow on people. And you will see that what we bring into India will normally be something that is there in the rest of the world and not yet in India. Coupe body style for mid-SUV also will come with that kind of build-up as we go along. And in the few weeks that we have been in the markets with EVs, we're seeing a lot of interest, not just from our media fraternity, but also in terms of booking and also in terms of actual consumers and customers approaching us at our dealership to see how the car will be made available to them.
Right. And what sort of market share ambitions do you have with the Curvv in this category?
So you'll see that in every category that we are present, we like to be a significant player. And in most of the categories that we are present, we are also on the podium, meaning 1, 2, or 3. So in this category also, we will want to be a significant player in this segment. And then, of course, go towards the podium finish as the aim for the product listings. But then we also understand that because the place is already crowded, because the product looks a little different, there will be a discovery phase where customers would want to go for this in steps. And so we are ready for that also. But we see that the kind of attention that this is receiving in the market and the kind of demand it is generating, we are already going to start looking at how to keep building capacities.
Right. And overall, if you look at the volumes, Mrs. Savarkar, so do you believe that this is going to bring in additional volumes for Tata Motors, or do you think that there is a threat of cannibalization with the Nexon and between the Nexon and Curvv?
Now, so like the CIV and the place for mid SUV segment, in our portfolio also, this will add a slice. And there are very distinct customers who go for a sub 4 meter or a 4.3 meter or a full size SUV. And there is normally no cannibalization between these categories. But then, of course, there's always a tendency that someone walks into a showroom and one also sees it. Ourselves also, when you go into, let's say, a buy for an electronics item or something, even if you enter the store wanting to go for a lower item, you may end up buying a higher item. That is likely in our showrooms also. And that is very much a welcome thing to happen. People choose higher models for us also. We look forward to that.
Okay. So do you believe that the slightly premium positioning of the Curvv with respect to the Nexon is going to differentiate it within the Tata Motors portfolio?
There is no overlap between Nexon and Curvv. Very different product segments. There are different kind of buyers who come for this product and other ones. So it will continue for us also. There may be upgrade, which is a welcome thing. So there may be people who have had a Nexon before who now want to go in for a Curvv. So that's quite okay with us.
And what are some of the key buyer traits, or if you talk about the demographics, so who is the buyer of the Curvv, and how do you differentiate the buyer between the Curvv and the Nexon?
So you'll see that people who normally come to buy a mid SUV would already be people who have had ownership experience of cars and SUVs. There would normally be people who are looking for an upgrade from whatever they have today. From that sense, you find that they are very choosy and picky in terms of what they want, and also expect quite a bit from the product in terms of things like refinement and luxury inside the car and all the electronics that come with it. And this is how we have also positioned the Curvv with respect to the rest of our portfolio. And you'll see that all these things are being met by Curvv.
Right. And with the Curvv, you're also, like you mentioned at the beginning, that you're going to offer automatics across the 3 powertrain options. So what sort of penetration do you anticipate for the automatic variants of the Curvv?
So in India, especially, you will see that the demand for automatic goes up with the class of vehicles. In a sense, the entry cars have a penetration today of about 10 to 15%. This used to be quite low, let's say a while ago, but now it's picking up. On the other hand, the highest car, the full-size SUVs, for example, have automatics that are more than 50%. Mid SUVs are somewhere in between. But these trends are growing, as new and new people start entering the car market, or as existing customers start looking for upgrades. The automatic does provide a lot of convenience in terms of what one needs to do on busy roads and all the traffic that we have here. So it is a very good convenience to have in your car to be having an automatic.
Right. And what are your plans with respect to CNG in this category and also AMT? I mean, right now you're completely moving away from AMT, which you've been offering in the past in the Tiago and Nexon. So what are the plans on that front?
So two things. First is about CNG. So we are seeing that CNG penetration, especially in the small cars, has been growing. So right up to 4-meter cars, which is quite good. Above 4-meter cars, there are not too many examples of people offering CNG. So it's a space that is evolving. It's a quickly about. So if at some point of time we see that there is a consumer demand for CNG in this category, we are very much open to going down that path. And the second question, sorry, can you please repeat?
AMT.
AMT. Once again, in this category of cars, mostly it is automatic, either CVT or AP or DCT. Out of these, we have chosen the DCT way of doing things because with DCT, you don't see a kind of drop in fuel efficiency that you see with automatic. Also gives you a very sporty driving feel, very quick gear shifts also. So looking at all these things for a HV kind of background, looks like the DCT is a good choice for this category. We don't see AMTs at all in this category of cars in the market, but it's not something that we won't do or we can't do should the need arise. We'll keep a watch on how the market evolves and be open to that option also.
Right. Right. And on diesel, Mr. Savarkar, so where do you see diesel going in the future? Because you're right now offering the diesel in the Curvv and the Nexon as well. So specifically on the Curvv, who is going to be the buyer coming for the diesel, and what future do you see for diesel engines in general in India?
So, us as well as rest of the industry had thought that, with BS6 phase 1 and phase 2, diesels will get phased out. But that's not been the case, especially in the higher end of the segment where we have full-size SUVs or even mid SUVs. You'll find that diesels are quite strong even today. Even before our entering the market, we see that about 40% already for diesel for mid SUVs. So that trend continues. It also depends on, let us say, how India moves towards BS7. But if it goes down the path of Euro 7, you see that diesel emission norms and gasoline emission norms are identical in Europe for BS7. And one can meet them with diesel as well as with gasoline. Then the topic comes as to what kind of price difference is required to provide for these technologies in diesel and gasoline with BS7. And so it will be consumer-driven kind of thing. At that time, when it is going to be consumer-driven, it depends on what is the benefit that a diesel engine gives you. And you'll find that diesel engines normally will come with much higher torque, much better startability, or much better way of moving long distances. And people who have these kind of usages will normally stay with diesel. Also, people who have had diesel in the past, when they think of replacement cycles, are more likely to continue with diesel. But one does see that with BS6, most of the hatch segment has moved out of diesel, which is also true for us.
Right. And in the Curvv, you see the demand for diesel coming more from the rural and the tier 2 areas, more than metros?
Not necessary. It all depends on the customer and their choice.
Okay.
So there would be a lot of customers who would live in cities but would want to have diesel from a certain point of view, like let's say cost of ownership, or the distances that they want to travel, or the range that they want to get between refills, and the kind of, let's say, toughness that diesel provides. All these things will still remain a positive with the diesel.
So you're saying that you're bullish as Tata Motors, you're bullish about diesels in the foreseeable future, and you're going to continue upgrading your engines for BS7 as well.
So with the Curvv also, we have actually made a new diesel engine, and we see that it will easily go into the next decade also. And it can meet all the emission norms as well as CO2. Especially for CO2 is actually better than gasoline engine. What you can normally do with a gasoline engine with CNG is something that may be possible with diesel engine alone.
Right.
It's in the ballpark.
Sure. And Mr. Savarkar, on the manufacturing front, so how are you placed in terms of your capacity right now to cater to the demand that you anticipate for the Curvv from the market?
So this is a product that we are planning to build in our Ranjangaon facility. So right now we have set up for some numbers, but as you would see from our past history, our supply chain as well as manufacturing footprint is extremely flexible. We are able to match and meet any demand that comes up. Of course, we are expecting that this being a new body style will take some volume discovery phase for us to know what exactly is the volume that we need to cater to. But we are quite bullish on the let's say, long-term outcome of this product.
Yeah. And lastly, Mr. Savarkar, Tata Motors has sort of set benchmarks when it comes to safety in almost all the categories that you've entered. So what about the Curvv? I mean, is the certification already underway? Is it in the process? And if yes, so when do we expect the safety ratings out for the Curvv?
So, like all our products, we have submitted Curvv also for the VNCAP assessment. That process is underway, and we hope that this result will be out quite soon, and we'll be happy to share the outcomes soon. And we are quite hopeful that it will also be like all other cars and SUVs that are 5-star today.
Sure. Mr. Savarkar, thank you so much and wish you all the best on the Curvv ICE powertrains going forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.